Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I am giving a rundown of the models this week, as we have a lot going on here in the southeastern US starting tonight and then into tomorrow. Then we have a strong Arctic air mass that is going to plunge all the way down to the Gulf Coast midweek. Then our next storm system that I'm watching will happen about Thursday into Thursday night time frame, where we'll have to see if we get another shot of wintry precipitation. So we got a lot to talk about, so if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe and we're going to get started. So starting today with the upper level water vapor imagery, valid Sunday evening, and we generally have west-east flow across the southern and central U.S. and kind of southwesterly flow over the southeastern states, which is providing a pretty favorable setup for wintry precipitation. So let's look at the radar across the mid-south region and the Tennessee Valley. So let's zoom in here on mid-south sector. And so this is our band of precipitation that's ongoing here across the region. And so this is mostly light to moderate precipitation. And most of this precipitation that's occurring here in like Tennessee, southern Kentucky, and down into northern Mississippi, most of that is falling as all snow, with the precipitation over here in northern Alabama and kind of in northeastern Mississippi, that is kind of more of a mixed bag of precipitation, kind of mix of sleet and snow. And I'll bring up the SPC's mesoscale discussion that they put out a couple of hours ago. And they were highlighting this area across the Arctic region and up into the some parts of the mid-south and lower Mississippi Valley for the increasing winter precipitation expected over the next few hours. So they were highlighting the concerns and what the environment was going to look like up here in this paragraph. And also noting here in this bottom paragraph that noting the forecast soundings depicting a warm nose here at about 2 to 4 degrees Celsius at about the 850 millibar level. That's about 5,000 feet off the ground. And so those profiles that could support a mix of sleet and freezing rain across much of the area that they highlighted here in pink. And so basically expecting the potential for impacts in the mixed winter precipitation to gradually increase as we go through the overnight hours. So now let's go to our upper air charts, and we're going to start here at 300 millibars. And as you know, we are looking for the jet stream. So the jet stream is going to be dipping down here across the central and eastern United States, and with generally kind of zonal flow here across the southern U.S. And if we go down here to 500 millibars, we have kind of this west-southwesterly flow here across the southeastern states. And so that is providing the synoptic scale lift that is necessary for precipitation in this kind of environment. So that's going to give us that wintry mix that we have ongoing. And also we have a pretty broad long wave trough here across much of the continental United States. So we got some embedded short waves that are going to be rotating through this trough, and that's going to give us additional rounds of precipitation. So we got another one here that's coming through the southern U.S. on Monday, and that's when I think the bulk of the precipitation is going to be coming. So let's go down here to 850 millibars, and we're going to be looking for the low-level jet. We have about 30 to 40 knots of flow here out of the west-southwest across the southern U.S., so that's bringing up moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and also that's also responsible for bringing up that warm nose that we just talked about a little bit earlier. I can go down here and zoom in on our southeast sector, and we can get a better idea of what the temperature is like at about 5,000 feet off the ground, which is what we're looking at right now. So here is our freezing line. This is the 0 degree isotherm here. And so that's generally from about southern Arkansas up into the far northern part of Alabama, so basically north of the Tennessee River. And that's where temperatures are falling below freezing at this level. And so north of this 0 degree isotherm, that's where snow is most likely. And then further south and east you go, that's where you're going to have melting of those snowflakes. And so that's going to increase the concern for icing. So I think generally south of the Tennessee River down into, let's say, central Mississippi and central Alabama, I think it's mostly going to be ice that they could be dealing with on Monday. But we're going to look into that as we go through the models here. So let's go back to the national view, and we're going to look at the surface here on our surface pattern. So we have a pretty strong Arctic front that is stretching from about southeast Canada down across the eastern seaboard of the U.S. and stretching down here to the Gulf of Mexico. And then also note here, kind of have the circulation here that's developing across the northern Gulf. So that's where a low pressure system is going to develop and kind of swing through here across the northern Gulf as we go through the day on Monday. So that's also going to help continue the precipitation as we go through the day on Monday and continue the winter weather threat for much of the southern U.S. So that is kind of what we're looking at for our upper air charts. Now let's pull up some soundings from about 6 p.m. That from the weather balloons that were launched across much of the country. So we're going to start at Oklahoma City at 6 p.m. and they're pretty much entrenched in that Arctic air mass. We look down here at the surface. Here, that surface temperature is about 7 degrees. So we're in single digits here across the southern plains, and that is the kind of air mass that is coming our way here in the next couple of days. So whatever precipitation does fall over the next 24 hours, that's pretty much going to stick for quite a while, because it's just going to be cold for Tuesday, especially into Tuesday into Wednesday. So let's look here at Little Rock, Arkansas, and that's a pretty favorable look for snow. We have pretty good moisture here in our snow growth region. That is the temperature range between minus 12 and minus 17 degrees Celsius. So when we have saturation in this layer, that's where snowflakes develop in our clouds, and so that's how we get snow. So as long as we don't have any melting layers beneath that level, and that snow can reach the ground. So this is that 0 degree isotherm on this sounding. So if you don't know how to read these soundings, you should check out my videos that talk about understanding soundings and SQTs, and that'll provide you more information on how to read these charts. So let's also take a look at Nashville. We generally have the same thing. We have pretty decent moisture here in the snow growth region, and don't see any melting layers down to the surface. So as long as we moisten up here down to the surface, snow showers are going to be ongoing here across Nashville. As we go further down to the south and east, this is the sounding from Birmingham, Alabama, and so they warmed up into the low 50s during the afternoon on Sunday. So it's going to take that strong cold front to come through to bring these temperatures down to below freezing, which I think that's probably going to happen as we go through the day on Monday. And so we're going to still be dealing with that warm nose that we were talking about, and that's going to be more pronounced the more further south and east that you go. So we can take a look here. This is Jackson, Mississippi. Again, you can see that temperature inversion here right around or just below 850 millibars. That's that warm nose that we're talking about, and also present at Shreveport, Louisiana. And that's also co-located with that low-level jet of about 40 knots or so out of the southwest. So that's where that warm nose is coming from. And so that's bringing up warmer air from the Gulf as well to help melt any snowflakes that would be falling. And so that's how we get a mix of sleet and freezing rain as well. So that gives us a pretty good idea of the current state of the atmosphere right now. So let's go into the models here and see what we are expecting over the next several days. This is the latest GFS run beginning 6 a.m. Monday morning. And at the 500 millibar level, we have an embedded shortwave that is digging down here in the southern plains here. That is kind of embedded in this big long wave trough that is situated over the continental United States. This is going to eject out into the lower Mississippi Valley during the day on Monday. And this pattern is pretty classic for a southeast winter weather threat, with generally west-southwesterly flow kind of in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. So that provides the synoptic scale lift that's necessary for the wintry precipitation. And so it's no surprise that we have a winter weather threat for early this week. So let's go down here to the surface where we have a low pressure system developing across the northern Gulf. Here that's going to take shape around this vicinity, and it's going to track across kind of the northern Gulf during the day on Monday. And so that's going to bring our next round of precipitation for the southern United States. And so that's going to be wrapping up here across the southern U.S. sometime around early Tuesday morning, things kind of wind down. So let's take a look at the high resolution models, and that's where we're kind of the main difference between the high resolution guidance and the global models is the depiction of our low level jet. So the high resolution models maintain that low level jet across the southern U.S. of about 40 knots or so out of the southwest. So that's maintaining that warm nose that we were seeing on our soundings. And so that's where we can end up seeing more ice than snow and across mainly south of the Tennessee River. So let's go here to Monday morning here at 6 a.m. So I'm going to zoom in here to the southern U.S. sector. Let's go over here. And so we got precipitation starting across much of the Mid-South and into the Mid-Atlantic region with kind of this long stretch here of wintry precipitation. The snow is in the blue shading, and then kind of the mixed bag of precipitation in the purple, and the freezing rain in the red shading that you see here. So let's get a sounding here from the Huntsville area and just see what the environment is like. So a pretty good environment in the upper levels. We have strong southwesterly flow here in the upper levels, maintaining that saturated profile throughout most of the column. So moisture is good. We got moisture in the snow growth region. The problem is we maintain this melting layer here at around the 850 millibar level. And so that's where we could see melting of those snowflakes that fall, and that's how we can get sleet or freezing rain at the surface. And so the HRRR here maintains that melting layer here. It's really, really shallow, but it's still present here at around lunchtime Monday. And we can go forward here through the afternoon. So I'm just seeing how this environment progresses as we go through the day on Monday. And it doesn't really change a whole lot. We do cool down here really in the low level, so I'm not so sure if we maintain that melting layer, but we'll see how that progresses as we go through the day on Monday. But this profile looks favorable for kind of a sleet and snow mix here, kind of a mixed bag of precipitation across the Huntsville area, kind of where the Tennessee River is. So let's go down here to 6 p.m. on Monday. So we start drying out here in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So the precipitation probably does not start as a snowflake on the back side of this storm system. So that's probably where we get some freezing rain, kind of on the back side of the precipitation here. So that's reflected here in the in the model output here. So let's look here. So at 9 a.m. Monday morning, across most of the Tennessee Valley, the precipitation should be ongoing here across Athens, Decatur, Huntsville. That's, I think, is when the precipitation starts on Monday morning. And so that's probably going to be falling as a sleet and snow mix along the Tennessee River, and more snow the further north and west you go. So this is lunchtime on Monday. The precipitation is still continuing across the area. And then as we go into the evening hours, so this is 6 p.m. on Monday, and again, that's reflected in what this model is showing. We'll compare this with another model, freezing rain occurring on the back side of this. So I don't think we're quite in the territory of an ice storm, but we might be close if we can maintain that melting layer. Here is the total ice accumulation as we go through the overnight hours into Monday. I don't think we're quite in the territory for ice storm, but boy, this could end up being close. If we end up getting about a tenth to a quarter of an inch of ice across North Alabama, that would not be good. That would cause major travel impacts for this part of the state if that verifies. But we'll have to just wait and see how that plays out. So this is the snow total accumulations, and the further northwest you go, I think we're going to get a pretty good band here of about 4 to 6 inches of snow across northern Mississippi, southern Tennessee, and really the eastern half of Tennessee for the most part. This does stretch down into northwest Alabama. I think it might be a little bit overdone across parts of as you go east of I-65. I think on average we're probably going to end up seeing more about 1 to 3 inches of snow mixed in with some ice. So that's pretty significant travel impacts expected for this event. And also, let's come back to this ice accumulation. I don't want to forget about the rest of the deep south here. So this is a pretty significant ice accumulate or significant glazing of ice here. It may not seem like much, generally less than 1/10 of an inch across much of the state of Louisiana and the southern half of Mississippi and into central Alabama, but as we know, it doesn't take a whole lot to cause significant travel impacts. Potentially as far south as the I-20 corridor. So pretty significant event that is going to be underway here pretty soon. Let's take a look at another model here. This is the ARW. So I can kind of do the same thing again. So let's start back here at 6 a.m. in the morning. So precipitation is going to be ongoing across parts of the lower Mississippi Valley up into kind of the Mid-South region. And then here at 9 a.m., precipitation then expands into pretty much the rest of the Tennessee Valley. And this model run, I believe, has a little bit more snow than what the HRRR was showing. This is around lunchtime on Monday. And then as we go through the afternoon hours, we might even see a transition back to sleet and freezing rain for the Tennessee Valley and parts of central Mississippi and central Alabama. And then things start winding down Monday evening, but still some light precipitation could be ongoing. And then things are pretty much wrapping up by around midnight Monday night. So all in all, mostly the same thing, same solution, but maybe some slight differences might give us some more snow totals for this event. So that is what we're expecting on Monday. Now let's go to the temperature forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'll go back here to the national look. So these are going to be the morning lows for. So these are going to be the morning lows for Tuesday morning. Here, so morning lows get all the way down into the teens over the Mid-South and the Tennessee Valley regions. And then during the day on Tuesday, this cold front, or this Arctic air mass, really then begins to sink down to the deep South region. And then by Wednesday morning, 6 a.m., those temperatures are all the way down to the freezing mark, all the way down to the Gulf Coast here, maybe even as far south as Jacksonville and Gainesville, Florida, getting all the way down to the freezing mark. So pretty substantial Arctic air mass coming all the way down to the Gulf Coast on Wednesday. So whatever precipitation falls on Monday is not really going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to stick around for quite a while here. It's going to take through at least Wednesday, or maybe even past Wednesday, because I don't even know if we get up to the freezing mark on Wednesday across parts of the Tennessee Valley. So it might even be Thursday before we see any substantial melting here, where our temperatures finally get up into the upper 30s. And so whatever precipitation falls is going to stick on Monday, and hopefully the roads do try and dry out some on Wednesday. Otherwise, other hazardous travel could continue into Wednesday as well. So that is enough on that. Now let's go back to the GFS model, and we're going to look at our storm system that's going to be coming up for Thursday. So it's kind of a similar story to what we had for Monday. We have another shortwave that is kind of digging here into the southern plains and ejecting out into the lower Mississippi Valley, while we still have this pretty strong upper level trough across the central and eastern U.S., kind of over the eastern half of the United States. And so if the area happens to be cold enough, we could again have another chance for wintry precipitation on Thursday and Thursday night. And so this depends on exactly how the models look as we get closer to the event. I can show you what the surface pattern is going to look like here. So again, we have this classic winter storm look for the southern United States. This is a developing low pressure system over the northern Gulf. and may even be a little bit more pronounced than the system that we have for tomorrow. This is, on the GFS model at least, a pretty decent winter storm setup for the southern United States, once again, across the Mid-South and Tennessee Valley regions. So this is valid for midnight Friday morning. So we may have another round of winter weather to look at for the end of this upcoming week. I can compare with the latest European model. So this is going to be the European model from this morning. And so the same kind of thing. We have our next storm system that's coming through on Thursday into Thursday evening. But the temperatures may actually be a little bit warmer on the European model. And so we have our surface low that's going to be developing here over Mississippi and into Alabama. And so temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 30s across the area of concern, kind of the Mid-South region and Tennessee Valley. So we probably wouldn't see as much snow. This would probably be just a cold rain on the European model. Yeah, that low pressure system tracks over northern Alabama. So the surface low is further north on the European model, and so we wouldn't we would just again have just a cold rain for this system. So some model differences we'll have to work out for the storm system at the end of this week. So when those model differences are worked out, I'll probably put out a social media post and we'll talk more about this upcoming storm system. So then at that point, we would be able to look at any potential accumulations and the impacts and things like that. So that's all that I have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.